Assalamu alaikum, everyone. This is Miss Karba. Um, on behalf of Alim, I would like to welcome you all to this short session on time management for teachers. There are still a few people who are joining, so we'll be waiting for one more minute and then we'll be starting. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, I would like to make sure that am I audible to everyone? Can you please update me with dropping a message in the chat box?
Yes, you are audible enough.
Right, right. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so let's move forward towards the agenda of our session. So in today's session, we'll be covering time management, the purpose of time management, some of the time management tools that are very much important, then some of the steps, principles of time management, a few teaching approaches, and the most common time management mistakes. Well, so there are around 168 hours in a week, and we have a lot of tasks to do. Just like we have to sleep, we need to go to the gym, we need to have some time for our own selves, we need to go for shopping, for groceries, and a lot of other things. Have you ever give it a thought, like how much time you are giving and how is everything get done? Have you ever calculated how much time you are giving to your sleep, how much time you are giving to the gym, how much time you are giving to your work? Have you ever calculated? This is what we first need to calculate how much hours we are giving to our sleep. If we are committed to, for suppose, 6 hours a week with our work, then are we giving more than that or are we giving less? We need to have justified calculations. Moving ahead, so what is time management? um w- can I have the definition from any one of you? You can type in the chat box. Okay, someone is typing. Okay, yes. So you can say that money is time, yes. So it is all about managing ourselves in relation to time. It is about setting up the priorities and taking charge of the situation and time utilization. So for suppose if you know that this task is very much important and I should do it prior to other tasks, and I should know that in this situation I must be doing this task beforehand. So this is how I am utilizing or making the most out of my time. So time must be explicitly managed, just like we manage money, we can manage time as well. Moving towards a word about energy. So have you ever think that you are more active in the morning and some are more active in the evening? People have their different nature, right? So you should evaluate your energy at different times of the day. This is the most overlooked aspect of time management and your energy level. So for suppose if you are, let's say, a morning person, then you should seize the early hours to do those tasks that require more focus. But for suppose if you're not a morning person, then you should not do any focus tasks in the morning. You should go for the evening if you are an evening person. So it's like that you need to make sure that you are being productive and not sacrificing sleep for extra hours to like socialize or anything else. It's losing sleep is basically the easiest way to sabotage your energy level. Then moving towards what is time management or its self management. You need to think about it. Is it only time management, managing time only, or is it really self management? If you know how to manage your time, it means that you know how to manage your own self as well. Well, moving towards the purpose for the self management, can you please tell me what can be the purpose? I would like to have some views from your side. Do you all have the option to chat? Okay, yes. So can you please let me know what is the purpose? Yes, it can be balance. Okay, goals. All right. So the very first purpose is the stress control. If you know how to manage your time well, you can prevent much of the stress that you are subject to. The next is balance is in life that is very much important. Sometimes it happens that we are giving most of our time to our work and we are not paying good enough time to our family or ourselves. So that is not the balance. Good time habits can enable us to achieve a more balanced life and with adequate time and for energy for work, home, family, and self, of course. Moving towards the third purpose, that is productivity. You can become more and more effective with your time. Of course, you automatically be increasing your productivity. So if you know that how to make most of your time, of course, you have increased productivity. Then goals to make progress towards achieving your personal and professional goals, you need to available with time. Nothing can be done, of course, when you are out of time. For suppose if you are not having enough time, you don't know how to manage things, then of course you won't be able to achieve your goals. There is a time management tool. Okay, let me see the chat box first. To get success, that's great. Okay. Then we have the time management tool. So what is your time management tool? Can I have views from your side? What is your time management tool? How do you manage your time? You can reply in the chat box. Okay, task list. Fine. All right, yes. So the first thing in the time management tool is a to-do list. Well, I usually have it in my cell phone. Okay, there is a message in the chat box as well. Let me see. Okay, planning properly, timetable. That's nice. Perfect. Yes, you are getting it right. So it's like that you have a to-do list with you. You should know that these are the tasks and this is what I have to do on daily basis. Previously, when I have just entered into my professional phase, there were a lot of tasks and I used to get stuck between all the things and I wasn't able to give proper time to all the tasks. So what I have done at the time is that I just put on a sticky note on my cell phone screen, and that is a sort of alarm, and I have pasted all the tasks there. So this is how you can have your to-do list. You can also paste the sticky notes on your laptop, your study table, your work table, or on your desktop. Then the next is making a chart. Of course, if you have different goals, you should have a sequence and you should have a chart which would really allow you to achieve your goals. The next is appointment calendar that a must to have. Like I have my calendar schedule like this. I usually have meeting on Friday. So I am giving alarm to myself on Wednesday that I need to complete all the tasks just because I need to tell the report on Friday. Then of course the evaluation sheet, that whether you have completed those tasks or not, you should have a tick mark. Well, what I usually do is that I just cross out that if I have done anything. Then of course files and folders in order to arrange and to be more organized. And like even if we are using any learning management system, so the purpose of the system is of course to effectively use the time, just because there are a lot of files and folders and you can arrange the content there, so that saves your time really. Moving forwards to the steps through which you can manage your time. And there are three steps which we'll be discussing in details. So the first step is to set goals. The second step is to make a schedule. And the third step is very, very much important, that is revisit and revise your plan. Let's go into details and talk about goals. Your goals need to be very much specific and concrete. What happens here is that we all have some ideas in our mind and we don't know how we can achieve it, and we don't have specific and concrete goals. Uh, Then your goals must be SMART, and there is a very good definition to SMART: as for specific, M for measurable, and A for achievable, R for realistic, and T for timed. So of course, if your goals are specific, it can be measurable, it can be achievable, realistic in time. Of course, you can easily achieve it and you can make it possible. But if they are unrealistic, if they are not achievable, then of course you cannot get it. Your goals must be long range and objectives linked to them. Well, a very good example for this can be when I was at my in my academics. At my matriculation level, I was just planning that I need to have admission at NED University. So I have just searched about it, and I have just searched the fields and the requirements of the percentages, and I got to know that, okay, for suppose if I want to get admission at like mechanical engineering department, then I need to have around 85 to 87. That is the percentage that is a must to have. So I have just planned myself accordingly. I need to have this much percentage at my metric level, that much percentage at my inter level, and of course 50% marks at the preparatory test. Of course, then I would be able to. So you need to make sure that your goals must be long range, and there are a few objectives that are linked to that goal. And the last is, of course, always set a deadline for your goals. Like if we talk about the students, if you're not giving a deadline to the students that you are having your exams for suppose on at 5th December, of course they won't be preparing for whatever they have started so far. Moving forward, in setting up the goals, you need to set priorities. Priorities are very much important. You should know which task is important, what has to done before, what has to done later on, and you can set your priorities. Like for suppose any task that is due by today, but any task that can be submitted by tomorrow, of course, due to tomorrow, then due by end, or due during next week. Okay, yes. Someone said in the chat box, like making deadlines as well. You are so true. Yes, I mentioned that at the last. Great. Okay, moving forward towards the priorities, one thing that I would like to discuss here is that there is a very good matrix that is very much important and that will really help you out in setting up the priorities. Even I have set my priorities according to that, and it's the matrix by Stephen Covey. It's like the tasks that are very much important and as well as urgent. So you need to have that earlier. So it can be like here, it's like pressing problems, deadline. Well, for me, the important and the urgent task is sleep and eat. It can be different for you too. Then there are some tasks that are not urgent, but that are important, right? Okay, so that the not urgent and the important task is like here given relationship building, planning, recreation, that can be. And the third is the not important as well as the urgent tasks. So there are some of them maybe emails that you need to reply, but that are not that much important. So of course you can do it later on. Sometimes on my WhatsApp, I have a lot of messages, but I don't reply to them just because they are not important. But I have to sometimes because they are urgent. And the last is of course the not urgent and the not important. Here I would be giving the example like it's given that is a time wasting, but I'll be giving an example that is pleasant activities. For suppose if you have a very packed schedule, then you must go for outing once a week, or you must do anything that actually pleases you. But if you are doing it on daily basis, then of course that is not neither important nor urgent, so you should not do it. Or if you are doing it on daily basis, then of course you are just wasting your time. So doing it once can be the not urgent as well as the not important task. By the way, where you would like to place travel? If I say travel, then what is travel for you? Let me know by your responses in the chat box. It can be like traveling is important and urgent. Traveling is not important and not urgent. Okay, make sure I'm talking about the pleasant traveling for any tour, right? So is that not important, not urgent, important, urgent, or what? I am waiting for the responses in the chat box. Well, for me, it is not important. Okay, phase two. Someone said phase two. Great. Well, for me, it is not important, but it is urgent. I will be placing it in the phase three, and it can vary for you. Like, okay, someone said that it's not urgent, not important. That, of course, everybody's priorities are different depending on the situation. Yes, it do depend on the situation. It does depend on the situation as well. Right. Moving forward, moving towards the second step to manage your time, it is making a schedule. Okay, traveling is not important, neither urgent, someone said. Okay, that can be for you, of course. Right. So making a schedule, that is the second step to manage your task. So here, first of all, what you need to do is that set up your semester calendar. For suppose if I'm teaching any student and I know that the student has appearing session in June, then of course I need to make sure that I am winding up the syllabus at around like maybe April, just because May is for the practice or revision and June is for the exams. So this is how you can set up the calendar. The second is you need to fill in the weekly schedule in this sequence. So you should have the sequence with you and you should fill it in order to make sure that you are effectively doing all the things. So it can be like I have like placed personal meeting at the top, personal maintenance at the top, then classes and work commitments later, and then other commitments and the optional commitments. This sequence can the sequence can vary for you, it can be different for you, but for me, sleeping, eating, getting ready, traveling is important for me, just because I need to make sure that I'm fresh. Only then I can give time to class, only then I can be attentive towards my work commitments and other commitments. You can do it accordingly, you can make your own sequence, but this is a one way. Moving forward, setting up your weekly plan. So you should set up your weekly plan, and for suppose if you are stuck towards planning that how you can plan it accordingly, you can ask a few questions to yourself. You can ask like, what do I expect to accomplish? You can set a target for your week, or you can go towards like, what will I have to do to reach these goals? Like for suppose if you have any task that should be done, so you need to make sure that what you have to do in order to achieve those goals. Then what tasks are more important than others? Like if there is any task that can be done later on at the month, then of course you can shift it that time. Or how much time will each activity take, and when will I do each activity, or how I flexible I have to be in order to allow for unexpected things. Unexpected things are very, very, very much important. Remember to expect always the unexpected. Mark the sentence, write it somewhere. This is very much important. How it's important? Just because during the COVID situation, you all know that people were very much satisfied with their things, studies. They were everything was going on the right pace, but out of nowhere we got to know that there is corona, and now we cannot study, we cannot have physical classes. So we just everybody switched towards the physical system, and I have literally witnessed a lot of people who who were literally shivering while using the mouse. They didn't have no idea about the laptop, about the system, about the desktop, and they were really shocked, and they were really, a few were even mentioning this thing, okay, I'm going to lose my job. So make sure you are always expecting the unexpected. This is important. Moving towards the third step, that is to manage your time effectively. And as I have mentioned earlier, that this is also very much important, that is revisit and revising your plan. Okay, so revisiting and revising your plan, it's like that you are making sure the task or the goals that you have set, they are being done or not. So how you use your time, you have been paying attention to your schedule, so you need to make sure how are you actually using your time, which task were you be able to do, and what didn't get done. You can even go for asking your stress level, that were you satisfied with your stress level, or it was really stress time during the last week, or was your energy level really appropriate? What changes need to be made to your weekly schedule? What are the persistent time wasters? You need to really identify what are the time wasters in order to success in your future. Moving towards the teaching approaches, you all must be very much aware, because a lot of people here in the session are of course the teachers, and they must be aware of these things, but I'm just telling you in details. So there are a few phases of teaching. The very first phase is the pre-active phase, very much important, because here I am referring to the planning of your session. For suppose if I have an online class, I need to make sure that I have enough resources, that is maybe the laptop, the mobile phone, depending on your situation. um, I need to have a good internet connection. I need to make sure that I have an alternate system available, just because I'm living in Pakistan. And of course, light can be off at any time. And I need to make sure that I have prepared the content as well. It's not simply like that you are sitting in front of the laptop and you are living the lecture, you are speaking and the student is listening. You need to make sure that you have planned any particular resource, you have planned maybe a PowerPoint in order to refer to some of the basic point. And of course, details can be discussed during the class. The second phase is the interactive phase, and that is referring towards the conduct and the management. So it is like when you are into the class, what you are doing right now at the time, what you are delivering. This is all what comes under interactive phase. The third phase is the post-active phase, which is referring to the follow-up and the consolidation. So you need to make sure that whatever you were trying to deliver at the time, whatever you have planned, whether the student has got that point or not. Make sure, revise the point, or just give a recap, or just cover the basic points that you have discussed during the lecture. Then in teaching approaches, you can have a lead in activity. This is what I'm sharing just because like you can use it during the class and you can plan your online lectures with the help of this. This is a technique that is used to get students on task immediately upon entering the classroom. So while the teacher takes role and organizes the class material, you can give time to the students so they can move towards lead in activity. Shortly, you can discuss the lead in activity before beginning the class. So it can be a sort of warm up too. The second is quote or word of the day. I don't know whether you pay attention to this thing or not, but this is, yes, very much important. Whenever the student is entering the class, the first impression that the student is getting is the whiteboard. So make sure that your whiteboard is prepared and welcoming the student. If it's an online class, make sure you are sharing the screen, you are sharing the whiteboard, and then you are sharing you have just written the heading there. So that this is the first impression that the student is getting towards the mm, class. The third is the brain teaser question that can act as a warmed up session, and you can give any question to the student depending on the situation. It can be anything that you feel like that the student will really take interest. I remember once at my university level, when the teacher was entering the class, she used to ask questions like, okay, what we did yesterday. So we all were really like, oh god, she's asking about yesterday, and we just started scrolling our books that what we did yesterday. Then another is the preview. Make sure students know what is expected of them during the class time. This is also important just because students nowadays are very much smart and they know that if the teacher is not prepared, so for you need to be prepared for the preview, discuss each portion of the class in advance so the students know that what we are going to have it today, or maybe they can pay more attention towards it. Next is having a student recap the previous day's lesson by giving a short overview in front of the class. So it can be also done, and it is also possible in the online class as well. Moving forward towards the lectures and notes, students' attention spans are short, but notes and lectures are very, very much necessary. So cover a suitable amount of material so that the main points can be reinforced later in the class through activities. But now, as we are all into the online system, then of course you should have a PowerPoint prepared and you should have the basic points there on the PowerPoint. You can encourage input and questioning during lecture time. This is one of the techniques that can be used in order to make sure that the student is involved and getting your things. If you are planning your class according to this, if you are scheduling, if you are dividing the time in these sessions, then of course I'm damn sure it's going to be productive. A lot of time I remember at my school level, well I haven't think it at the time, but right now I'm thinking about it, that the teachers were not used to be prepared. Sometimes it happens the bell used to ring and the teachers were like, oh my god, I haven't delivered the complete lecture yet. This is a very much negative impression towards the student. A teacher must always know that, for suppose if I have 30 minutes for the session, then I must complete it in 30 minutes until and unless there is any exceptional case. There can be a demonstration on group activity through which, of course, the students will be interacting with each other. And then at last, there is going to be a lesson overview. Make sure whatever you have addressed, the students have got it. And you can ask them by saying, like, what did we learn today? And see that if they have got your message or not. And have students reflect in their notebooks what they thought were the important topics of the day's lesson. Moving forward towards the last part, that is the most common time management mistakes. I'm damn sure it's going to be eye opener for you and you'll be learning something new. First thing is that failing to keep a to-do list. So for suppose if you don't have any to-do list, of course the problem is same. You won't be able to see or organize your time. You don't know what are the tasks that to be done by today, that to be done by tomorrow. Then second is not prioritizing the goals. So one tool that will help you prioritize effectively is the urgent important metrics that we have discussed earlier. Make sure you are using it depending on your situation. And of course, this will help you understand the difference between the urgent activities and the important activities. So make sure you are prioritizing your goals and you are not making this mistake. The third is failing to manage distractions. It happens a lot of people get irritated towards this. Like, for suppose, if they are delivering an online lecture and there is some problem with the internet connection, a lot of people are there who fail or who feel distracted and they get irritated. So if you want to gain control of your day and do your best work, it's vital to know how to minimize distraction and manage interruption effectively. You can have an alternate connection, you can have any alternate available so that you can switch towards that. The four is procrastination. Procrastinating may give immediate gratification because it delays working on an important but sometimes undesirable task. And procrastination can also bring anxiety, illness. It can move towards your decreased productivity towards the work. It's like less learning as a result of being rushed or a personal sense of disappointment. It happens with all of us, and maybe at any point in time we feel like that, okay, I haven't given enough time to my work, or maybe I haven't given enough time to myself, or I'm not giving enough time towards the sleep. So in the end, it hurts you more than it helps you. You should know how to deal with it. The fifth mistake is that inability to say no. Well, this is very much important. I am always very lenient towards people, and even if they are saying they're asking my help, I'm always like, okay, yes, I can do it. But I have just learned this thing with the passage of time that I should know when to say no, and when I don't have enough time. Like, maybe if I have any workload, if I have any deadline, then I should know that I should know that, okay, this is not the right time and I cannot help you right now. I remember well, just before this session, I just had a call and she was into the talking, and I just didn't want to say like, no, I cannot talk to you. But I just excused her by saying, I'm so sorry, I just have a session and only 5 minutes are left. Please, can we talk later? So you should know that when to say no. The sixth is multitasking. A lot of people believe that they can easily deal with it and they can do a lot of tasks at the same time. It can be like sending an email, it can be like doing a message, it can be like doing a lot of tasks at the same time. But it can take 20 to 40% more time to finish a list of jobs when you are a multitasker, compared with completing the same task or the same list of tasks in a sequence. Seventh is all work and no play. As I mentioned earlier, that I am that kind of person who love to go for shopping or for traveling. So I will give proper time to it. If it's hard for you to stop working, then of course schedule proper breaks for yourself. You can go for a quick walk. You can grab a cup of coffee, or you can just sit and meditate at your desk. It's not like that you are doing anything. You can even sit, you can even talk to yourself, you can even think about the things you are worried. You can give time to yourself. This is a sort of um, meditating yourself. So this is very much important. Well, that is all from my side, and I am going to share a feedback form in the chat box. So let me share the link of it. Okay, someone raised a hand. Right, if you have any question, you can drop in the chat box, I can reply to you. If there is any question, you can drop in the chat box. Any question? Okay, tell me more about Walim and its origin. That's a nice question. Well, Walim, okay, it's not like that Walim came into existence just because of Corona. It's not like that. We have been working in the field from around 2-3 years, and we are totally an online based platform. We are providing online classes to O levels, A levels, matriculation, intermediate. We have skills based courses as well. And Valim is basically a project of ERC is into dealing with the learning management softwares. ERC has introduced a learning management softwares, and that can be altered according to the needs of the customers. So Valim is a project of ERC. Anything else you would like to ask? If there is any question, you can drop in the chat box. For your feedbacks and for your comments, or if there's any question, you can get back to me on my email address, that is counselor@valim.com. You can write me at, or okay, there is sometimes distractions and multitasking impacts online learners, like multitasking. I mean sharing PPT, and as a science teacher showing them some practice and all. Yes, 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 of course, this is what with the passage of time you are going to learn. um like you can say in the beginning I wasn't trained of doing this. So what I need to do, what I had to do is that I was very much confused. Okay, I have to share the screen. I have to share whiteboard also. So of course this is what you are going to learn with the passage of time. Okay, someone is asking what is ERC, its full form. Well, ERC is the e-resource center. Okay, it's quite difficult to manage sometimes. Yes, it's quite difficult to manage sometimes, and of course we can't be 100% perfect, but we can give our best at least. So these were some of okay, someone is asking how we can engage our students more online courses. Of course you need to know such tactics. And okay, too many technical glitches as well. Yes, of course what you can do here is that you can interact more and more with the student. Nowadays what happen here is that the students are too much into technology, so you can give them assignments that can be done online. Like for suppose if you are teaching English, what I do is that if I am teaching English language to someone, and I would be sharing a few links of websites where the student can appear for a few tests, and that is going to be a sort of play. So they are going to learn with play, right? And they'll be enjoying during those attempts, right? So you can engage your students through online resources. You can, of course, when you are teaching online, then okay, I'm going to answer that as well, right? So I was on how you can interact with the students and how you can engage. So it's like that you can make more and more interactions by talking to them. Make sure their camera is turned on, and when you are talking to them, they are replying to you. And try to go for a smaller group when you are teaching online. Okay, someone is asking, is Walim related to IBA? Well, Walim is not related to IBA, but the office of Walim is at IBA, and this is all I can tell you about Walim right now. Hope so. The session is productive for you all. I am okay. Someone else is asking a question. Let me reply. First of all, let me copy paste the link here, so I'll got to know about your feedbacks. I'm answering your questions. Just give me a minute. Okay, the link is here in the chat box. I would be waiting for your feedbacks and comments. And okay, the question is sometimes the students keep asking questions and raise hands. So management of time is quite difficult for us, especially in English language class. Well, that's quite true. What you can do for here is that, well, I remember when I used to teach English language. Currently, I have just stopped. But when I used to teach, what I used to do here is that I was like I planned my lecture according to 15 minutes are for me. I'm going to to speak and nobody is going to ask at the time. And I ask my students to write any question if they have in their mind on their notebook. After 15 minutes, I'm going to stop and I'm going to give 2 to 3 minutes to them in order to in order to see like if they have any question, if they have any query. And what I usually do here is that if I'm teaching online, then of course if the video is on, then of course I'm going to sense it from their faces that okay, these are the students who are having the confusion. And I can even sense it as well. Of course, with the passage of time, I have learned this tactic that where the students are feeling confused. Okay, so hope so there are no more questions now. I have dropped. Okay, Miss Huma Hanif is has raised her hand. If you have any question, you can ask, please. Okay, I have dropped the link of the feedback form, and I have also shared my email address with you. So for suppose if you want to get back to me, you can you can be there. Well, from next month, if inshallah, we are going to have another session too. And if you have any suggestion for that, I would be really appreciating. You can send me. You can share it my email address, or you can write it in the feedback form too. And probably we are going to have. Um, all right, thank you. And probably we'll be having the certified sessions from next month. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everyone. Allah Hafiz.